everyone, and welcome to Growing Together, a gardening podcast with me, John Lamb, and Don Kinsler, a lifelong gardener and the North Dakota State University Extension horticulturist for Cass County. Don, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm enjoying gardening in the middle of summer, and I'm especially excited because in only a couple of weeks, or even less, is the Red River Valley Garden Tour, and so it's going to be fun to visit.
You were on last year. It might be nice for you to actually be able to go out and see some other gardens and not have to worry about getting
exactly. It was so much fun to visit with all those that came, and now I'm going to enjoy touring this year's yard. So it's going to be fun to visit about that.
And so we've got in a special guest. We've got in Sandra Vigen from who's on not part of the tour as in showing, but you're one of the organizers, right?
Yeah.
And your yard was also on the tour a couple of years ago.
Yeah, mine was on it the first year, 4 years ago. And so I know what these gardeners are going through. It's wonderful. But thank you guys for having me on to talk about the Red River Garden Tour.
And as the guest, you've also got a question for Dawn this week.
I do. I went to I'm on the Garden Palooza committee, but I was at that and the speaker was talking about foodscaping, which is growing vegetables, fruits in with your flowers. So I decided as a large flower grower, try something new. And so I put in potatoes in large containers. And I've got some brown spots on a few of the leaves. And so I'm just concerned. So I thought, what better person to ask than Don and John here today.
And you brought a picture, which is always helpful.
So the photo of the potato shows some of the lower leaves with some yellowing and also kind of some brown spots kind of along the margins, kind of some lesions on that. And so anytime some of the lower leaves, especially the lower leaves, start developing yellowing and some brown lesion type spots on potatoes, a person is concerned about blight. There's a couple of blights, early blight, late blight. And of course, blight is a fungal type disease. That's what caused the great Irish potato famine. Blight can totally wipe out a potato crop. It can this sounds kind of dire, doesn't it?
It does. I'm like thinking I might be still making instant mashed potatoes next winter.
You caught it in time.
Okay.
Because at the very earliest sign of these lesions, brown lesions on the potato leaves, a person looks for an all-purpose fungicide for vegetables, and on the label it will list potato blight. Okay. You can mix it up in a watering can and water it on, or mix it up in a sprayer and spray it on. So get good coverage on all the leaves, and that should stop the potato blight in its tracks from progressing on. Okay. But again, getting it early is key, and I think you've caught it in time.
One of the two containers have purple potatoes, so I can't wait to surprise my husband some night when he knows we're having potatoes. And I set these purple things down in front of him, and he's like, "What?"
The first time you see them, it's a stunning thing.
Yeah. John, have you tasted purple potatoes? Yeah, I have too.
And do they taste normal and good? I mean, is he gonna?
I'm not sure my own case is it because I knew they were purple, so they seem to taste different. I thought they had a more buttery flavor, slightly different texture. Excellent. But I'm not sure if it was just in my head or if that was reality. I loved them.
You had me at butter.
Yes, exactly.
Don. Yes.
Butter and potatoes.
Yeah, it's a good combination. How often, can I ask one real fast question to Don, is how often should I be watering them?
Well, especially at this time of year when they're forming the tubers, I would just watch the soil. And when it looks like the soil has begun to dry, not get bone dry. Yep. So depending on the size of the container, it's probably not every day, but in the heat of the summer, maybe it's every other day. Okay. But I would watch when the surface of the soil starts to dry, but still a little moisture down below, then I would water thoroughly. But to try to prevent them from getting too dry, especially last half of the summer here when they're doing their heavy tuber formation.
Okay. Another question about the potatoes. What kind of fertilizer and how often should I be fertilizing? If I started with brand new, good, organic soil that's for gardens and vegetables.
And of course you can use an organic type if you like to stay with the organic line. There are some good organic type fertilizers. I would definitely fertilize now. And anything that is in pots, the fertilizer tends to wash out and down because you're watering frequently. And so probably once a week with a good organic fertilizer, no less than once every couple of weeks.
Okay. Well.
And, just to get it back to the fungicide, as it's something you really want to get on the leaves, right? This isn't a case where you water or you fertilize, you want to fertilize the soil and the root of the plant.
Right. Yep. Fertilizer. There are some fertilizers that get kind of absorbed by the leaves too, so you can follow the labeled directions. But the fungicide especially is to get on the leaves as a protectant. It forms kind of a barrier that the fungus can't penetrate. And, of course, then the fertilizer, get a good water-soluble type that will go down into the roots and be absorbed readily. So we'll expect a potato report.
I'm going to have you guys over for dinner. We'll just do a potato, like a little bar. You guys just bring different toppings, and then we'll just eat potatoes come January.
How much have you seen your potatoes grow? Ours have absolutely shot up. And we're doing the same thing. We do them in 5-gallon buckets. Put holes in the bottom, drill holes in the bottom. But yeah, the amount that they've shot up to the point that we've kept adding dirt, until we got to the very top of the bucket, just to kind of mound them. But then they keep shooting up. They get taller and taller. Those are big bushy plants.
They are huge. I'm amazed at how big these are. My friend Beth gave me a couple of her potato tubers from last year that she had. And they really took off. And it's so cute because my husband keeps saying to me, do we have potatoes out there yet? I mean, can you see them? Are we having potatoes yet? And it's having to explain to him too, it will come in time. I don't know these like I know dahlias and flowers, but I do.
The interesting thing, when they start forming flowers, when they start blooming, then they're also starting to produce tubers underneath.
Yeah, I have a lot of blossoms on top. And those, I'm assuming, will just fall off too. But it means everything's still good below the soil.
Occasionally, those flowers actually get pollinated, and you'll get kind of little golf ball sized fruits forming up at top.
How cute.
But they should be removed. So if because that's an energy drain, and we want the energy to go into the potato tubers. And we don't need seed balls forming up on top. So if they do form, then just remove those.
Yeah, I'm cutting that off when I get home. That's good. That's good. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate that.
All right, let's take a quick little break. When we come back, we'll talk about the garden tour.
Local news affects your life. It gives you the confidence and clarity to make better decisions every day. You can support that with a digital subscription. Visit inforum.com/subscribe to take advantage of our introductory offer, just $6 for 6 months.
All right, we're back, and this week we're talking about now what is the full name of the garden tour? I always just say the garden tour, but there is an actual name for it.
Red River Valley Garden Tour. And now this is a good initiative by the NDSU Extension Master Gardeners.
Yep.
And so the NDSU Extension Master Gardeners formed a committee, and this is really a grassroots effort by them. This was the 4th year. And Rachel Saylor, who has been on our podcast before, is the committee. And it's made up of, there's about 4 or 5 of you, including you, Sandra.
Yep.
And Rachel had come to me about 4 years ago and said, gosh, what do you think about forming garden tours? I said, yes, absolutely wonderful. Yes. And you people on the committee, you guys just took it and ran with it.
I think it's like that feeling and thought of as you're driving around neighborhoods and you're always wondering when you see those fences, what's behind that fence? What is that? And I thought, here's my chance to get behind those fences, Yeah,
this tour allows people to see the parts of people's yards that you don't normally get to see. No. So this is the Master Gardener program at work. This is a really super initiative, one thing that our NDSU Master Gardeners are responsible for.
As Master Gardeners, we're required to give back so many hours to the community. And this, for me, is like one of my favorite ways. It's a great way to volunteer and get to know other people that have similar interests. And be able to
tour goers learn so much. You see what works in our area, what other people are growing. You get design ideas. You see the creativity. You see what will grow in our zones 3 and 4. And it is just awesome to see the perennials, vegetable gardens, the landscapes. How other people are doing it. How are they mulching? How are they maintaining the leaves?
What are the trends?
The weeds.
What are the trends? What's changing? Maybe you'll learn like a new product. I always say it's kind of like we're like an artist palette. We're all given the same amount of paints, the certain watercolor 8, the box of crayons, and it's like, what do you do with it that I don't do? What do you have or what have you come up with that I don't have? And so you inspire and you get to teach other people. It's a great thing for the community.
Really
while raising money.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
And another wonderful side benefit of all this is the ticket proceeds go to a nonprofit. Again, this will be the 4th year.
Yes.
The ticket proceeds go to a nonprofit that kind of shares the same horticultural vision of educating and doing good things garden-wise in our community. Past recipients have been the Growing Together Community Gardens. Jack Wood has been on our podcast.
Yes, that's a wonderful.
Garden of Healing, which is a tremendous.
Wow. Yeah.
And the Northern Plains Botanic Garden Society. And so to date, over $24,000 has been donated, the ticket proceeds have been donated back into the community. So
amazing?
That's where the ticket prices go back into the gardening community.
It's great to be able to put that back into the community and help these organizations grow.
So that's a little bit of the history of how this started. And 3 very successful years. And you were on, was it the first year? Second? First year. Your yard was on.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. Our yard was on last year. And so each year it's different. There's 7 to 8 yards each year. And each year we try to plan a certain area of town so that people aren't running from one end of the metro to the other end on all these. So last year was kind of South Fargo area. This year's North Fargo area.
Yep. Yeah.
And so we kind of try to group it a little bit so it makes it easier for ticket holders to kind of get between. So should we get into this year?
Let's do that. Let's talk about these homes and these yards because there are some gorgeous gardens and landscapes to see. So I'm super excited.
Well, first, let's get to the dates.
Oh, I suppose.
Yes.
What are the dates? Just so because we're
waiting
we're hyping people up.
It's an important detail.
So the tour this year is going to be on July 15th and 16th. On Wednesday, the 15th, it's going to go from 1 to 7 p.m. And then on Thursday, it goes from 9 to 3 p.m. And we try to set that up so people can, if you have to work, you know what, you can still take in some of the yards for a few hours.
Yeah, you could take a lunch break and do it on one day.
Exactly.
Or you could wait until 5 o'clock till you get done with work and go another day. Yeah.
Yep.
Or you can go both days, right?
You can. And some people will do that because they want to be able to really take their time. Even if you did 4 one day, 4 the next, you get looking around and it's amazing how long you can spend looking around somebody else's garden.
So it's totally flexible as to whether you want to do them all one day or split them up.
Yep. You do go at your own pace.
Exactly.
So you can.
Or go back.
If
you let them, if you were at Dawn's yard last year and you didn't get around to everything, or if you wanted to go back and double check, yes.
We can go back to Dawn's yard?
No,
I'm just kidding. Sorry, Dawn.
I have more weeds this year than I did last year.
It's a souvenir.
And then
I don't think the ticket works a year later, does it?
How much are tickets?
Tickets are $17 if you buy them ahead.
Okay.
You can buy them the day of the tour. You can either go onto the website, which is rrvgardentour.com, and buy it. And then you're sent the map. That's emailed to you. That goes out on the 6th of July or after you purchase your ticket. Otherwise, you can buy it the day of too, at any of the locations.
Yeah, and I believe the day of are $20 instead of $17.
Yep.
So it's slightly higher.
Very reasonable.
Does this sell out?
The first year we did put a cap on the tickets, and I tell you, I think we sold out within a couple of days, and we got a lot of messages from gardeners that missed out that wanted to go to the tour. And so we're like, you know what? Let's not cap it. I think last year we had almost 900 people.
Yeah, close to that. Between 800 and 900 people. And I think there was concern that, if all of those showed up at the same yard at the same time, I mean, it'd be overwhelming. But the committee decided that since it's over 2 days, people would kind of come and go between the two. So the idea was just to open it up, not put a cap on, and that it would hopefully just flow even enough, and it has.
It did.
Yep, it's been wonderful that the flow has gone through fine, and so we didn't put a cap on the
No,
which is great. Then it opens it wide up,
which is wonderful. And we last year raised over $12,000 for the Garden of Healing, so we're really proud of that.
And this year, the beneficiary will be Hope Blooms.
Yes, which is a North Side nonprofit,
but serves the whole community, as they all do.
Serves the whole community, exactly. And
Kelly Krenzel has been on the show. We've been up at her facility before.
They do such good work. Just taking flowers, repurposing those, get those bouquets to shelters, to food pantries, to nursing homes, to so many to recovery centers. A bouquet to tell people they matter,
right?
That they haven't been forgotten.
Just think of all the smiles that they've created,
exactly,
and how many people they've made happy or bring back a memory. I always think of somebody who's maybe in a assisted living or nursing home or something like that, who might receive a flower bouquet that who knows when the last time they received one.
All of a sudden, be surprised with a beautiful flower bouquet,
and it reminds them of back home when they had their own yard and their own garden. So.
Well, and also that they're just promoting just flowers. They're promoting. They do a wonderful thing called a bouquet around Halloween, where you could buy a BOO bouquet. That's been a lot of fun. They've done different fundraisers, things like that promote their mission, but also that they're just having fun with growing, with flowers, and bringing those into people's lives, bring them into their homes and maybe their workplaces. It's a great project. It's
a wonderful organization, and anytime you see Kelly or any of the volunteers, like they have smiles on their faces.
Oh, I've never seen Kelly not have a smile on her face.
I think it's just automatic.
And those nonprofits are so in need and appreciative of the donations that they receive. So the finances here will greatly help them.
Right.
So we're hoping for a good turnout. The better turnout we get, then the more proceeds can be donated to Hope Blooms.
Well, let's talk about what people are going to see on the tour when they turn out. What are the kinds of things that you look for when you're looking for a garden to be on the tour?
Mm-hmm. We're looking for something that has variety, something that looks like it's well maintained, that you can tell that it's been loved and cared for, something that might spark somebody's interest. Maybe it'll inspire them to start with a garden, something where it's going to be maybe something educational. I think now the big hot trend we've been seeing are a lot of raised beds, which are great, especially for somebody if you have problems bending over or getting down on the ground. That's kind of a big trend right now. And I think one of the yards that I'm really excited to see her garden is up in Riley's Acres. She has raised vegetable beds. So maybe instead of my 2 little pots of potatoes, maybe next year it's but just like that, and the homeowner's there. And so I'm looking forward to even with her being able to pick her brain and ask her questions too.
And that is always very fun too, to talk about talk with the people who've done the work, about kind of what started it. And sometimes you get some really great, it's always a personal touch because it's in their yard and it's the things that they like. But sometimes there's stories behind the flowers and the plants, the trees, things like that, vegetables, whether it's, from history, maybe these are grandpa's irises or something else. There's always great stories.
And I love hearing those. I love hearing those from the homeowners and stuff, and hearing about too after they've split them and they've passed them on to maybe nieces and nephews. And you know what? That flower that brought their grandpa so much joy is now going on to make happiness and joy happen in other places. There's always a couple of master gardeners that will welcome you when you first get to these yards. They check you in. You'll be given a brochure that will also have a little bio written from the homeowner about their garden. So you really get to feel like, even if you don't get a chance to talk to them, you do get to feel like, okay, yeah, I do. Oh, I love that. I love Carol has that. And you'll never drive by those yards again the same because you know what's behind that fence.
Yeah, and this is such a rare opportunity to peek into people's
Right?
backyards.
Right? You can get in trouble for that.
I've been
Yeah.
accused when I drive around with Sam, when we're driving around, I'll stop and I'll, be driving, looking through my car. She's like, speed up. You are not going the speed limit. You look
I
like a
know.
creep.
Right?
But this is your chance
Right?
to be, you're
Yes.
invited in because you're a part of this. So you are welcomed into someone's yard.
John, I own a business. I have a wrapped vehicle. You could ride around with me. You'd be amazed. Like, we can drive through all neighborhoods. Nobody looks at, well, they do look at you a little weird because of the car, but nobody's calling the police or anything like that. So it's like, hey, and you know what? I don't think there's anything wrong too if you're ever going by, or maybe you're walking down the street and somebody's got a beautiful yard and the homeowner's there. Say hi.
Yeah.
Give them a compliment. Ask
People
them a
love it.
question because you know what? They're not going to take that as creepy.
Right.
You know, people want to share.
They've done the work. They want to share. You're right. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But so this is a great opportunity to get out and get to walk into somebody's backyard, to walk into their vision.
Right.
And like Sandra, like you mentioned, then at each of these sites, and of course the ticket holders will get a map with the addresses of all the locations, and so that when you get to each of those yards, there's a table with the master gardeners there to greet you, check you in, and kind of get you started, aimed in the right direction at each of the place. So you'll be greeted by our master gardeners.
Yeah, for sure.
And in most cases, the homeowners are usually there to answer questions and visit.
Homeowners, it's just so fun because, they're just so proud of it. Like, truly. At first, they're nervous, but now that it's a couple weeks away, I've talked to some lately, and they're just like so thrilled and honored to be a part of this.
Well, and I think too, one of the great things is, like Don, you always say, count the day lost, you don't learn something. This is a great chance to see something. If you see something in someone's yard and you want to say, how did you do that? Yeah. How did you grow that? How did you come to decide that was the spot for this? Or how are you working with these conditions? This is a great chance to do that with gardeners.
And some of the yards have been nice, smaller sized yards so that people can say, oh, well, gosh, yeah, I could do that in my own yard.
Exactly. Not everybody has acre or 2 acres.
Or maybe it's full shade.
Or full shade.
And, it gives you an idea, oh, gosh, yeah, I got shade tree too. I can do.
You can grow that.
Yeah,
here?
I can. Yeah, exactly.
That was a great thing. Last year was the first time I went on it, and so Don, your yard was in there, mostly full sun. You do have some shady spots, but you've got a great big property that you've dedicated a lot of time to. But on the flip side, there was a much smaller yard that had a lot of shade, but also equally as impressive in just a very different way what people can do. And so that's the kind of variety that I really appreciated seeing, that not all yards were the same.
And with the amount of new growth that we've had in this community of ours, there are a lot of smaller twin homes and smaller yards and things like that. And you want to get ideas, and this is a great way to do it. Because they need to start somewhere. And I think it's also so nice to be able to remind people that, you know what, you need to just get started. You can always change your flowers around. You can always change things. Your garden, you're not making a commitment for the next 50 years of your life. And you can ask questions, like you said, to the homeowner, and you can find out, like, what are your challenges? Do you really like this plant? Is it a good one for me? And
yeah, I think there was another place last year that was almost all container garden too. So you will see some places that are stressed that use that because that's what works in their space, and some places that'll be in ground and perennials.
I always joke, John, about my yard because I don't have a koi pond. That's the only thing missing. That's the only thing. I swear, my husband thinks I have every plant, but he's like, that's the only thing missing, and he has told me no. He's told me no. So, but this year there's a couple of houses that have koi ponds.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And so, those are always great to see. And then, one of them has actually just like goldfish in there. And she brings the goldfish in because she didn't want them to get too big.
Okay.
Because it's not a huge koi pond. It's the nice thing is it's exciting. Like, these North Fargo homes are so established. They have the huge trees. There's so much shade.
Yes.
This is the year, I think, of shade, except for a couple of the Riley's Acres yards. So I guess you will see really a combination. But it's really great to see those yards and learn, like, okay, you can grow more than just hostas.
Right.
Yep.
And it's also fun to see like you mentioned, ponds and things, but the other structures, the statuary, the the kind of other things that people are combining in their yards in
Yes.
addition to the plants. There's a lot of fun, kind of fun things that people have worked in, and it's so neat to see the creativity.
Now I know the list won't come out for a while yet. It comes out closer to the date, but there has been one participant who's been very vocal in promoting his own space.
I got a couple. I've got a few. Tell you the truth, it's just like, wow, I'm super excited, and just like you think, like we've had 4 years, every year, 7, 8, 9 yards. Like you think how many yards we've already seen, but you go, how can there be even more? That it's just like so different.
And you've been able to get out and see these yards so far. So
we do kind of a pre-tour, just to see if they have any questions and to kind of let them know how the tour works.
Usually my list of what I still need grows after seeing them. But one of them that I just love is Tim Flackel, who is one of the commissioners.
He's a Cass County commissioner.
Yes.
And he's been very vocal. He does some substituting on radio as well. And so he's been promoting that his yard is on the tour. So he is thoroughly enjoying this.
He's so proud, and it's just going to be so fun. So he has 2 miniature horses that are going to be there. I know, who would ever thought we'd see this on the tour, but it's like
kids with parents are encouraged.
They're welcome to come along. There's no cost for kids, so they'll be able to see that. He's also going to be doing, you've maybe seen it like in Europe where they do like multiple umbrellas hanging as like over a walkway or whatever. His backyard is going to have like 60 of them as one big canopy. I mean, like, oh my gosh. And he's doing it for this. It's like, he's really like going above and beyond. And
when you walk through his garage to get to the backyard, look at what he has on the walls of the garage. I'm not going to tell you.
No, we got to leave that for suspense,
but look at the walls of his garage.
Like wow, he's just... Yeah, he's going to have an artist painting. Somebody's going to be painting right there. Like it just encompasses so much. It's just going to be so fun.
People are going to be lined up to take photos in his backyard gazebo.
Right.
Yeah. And so Tim's place is a great example of like yard and garden, where it's not just what he's growing, although he's just got a great amount of flowers, bushes, shrubs, things like that. And he's got great personal stories. There's a peony in his front yard that was taken from his family's ranch, and it's labeled, and it's past bloom now, but it's still nice to see. Yeah. He's an example of somebody who's got these personal touches. But then again, the things that he's using to kind of put up on the walls, put up in the trees, that is a yard where you're going to have to keep looking up. There's a lot of wonderful attractions there. He's got these kind of hot air balloons that will light up at night. So maybe you won't be able to see them in their full glory, but it's a really fun thing. A lot of decor in the yard. It's a really nice. It's a fun. That'll be a real treat for people.
I think something like that, like his yard, it really inspires a lot of us where we may have something we were given. You don't know, you'd like to be able to incorporate it somehow in your garden, but you don't know what to do with it or how to hang it. And being able to see you're going to get inspired from that. Well,
and Sandra, the first time you were on the show, you brought Don and I both amaryllis bulbs.
Yes.
And this was tied into a letter that we got from a listener who grew amaryllis bulbs for the summer, not for holidays, but for the summer. Tim has a number of amaryllis blooming now, and I think there may be even more coming. So that will be a fun thing to see those in a garden too.
No, I'm excited. I'm really excited now. Don, those things, they'll still be blooming?
They should still be blooming.
There was one that was blooming yesterday on July 2nd. So.
And I would say, knowing Tim and as determined as he is, they'll be blooming.
He will will it.
He will will it. I mean, it's just, and his grass is gorgeous. Yep. And
so it's awesome to see how much he is enjoying it, as well as all the people on the tour, that they really, the tour yards really get into it and enjoy.
They do. One of them that's really excited about the process and the yard and being on the tour is Kim's Plant Ranch. She's in Riley's Acres. Now, Kim, she supplies some flowers for some of the local florists, I learned. And she's very involved when it comes to the Hope Blooms. So this is very personal for her, too. She has 25,000 Lisianthus that she has been growing. She has over 450 dahlias. she's going to be doing a cut bouquet. So you'll be able to purchase a cup for $10. So that'll raise even more money for Hope Blooms. And you'll be able to actually cut flowers from her garden.
Is that during the tour or after another event?
During the tour, when you're there going through it, it's
and so she has her business there at her home.
Yes.
And so so I have not seen her place yet. So I'm really excited to see that cut flower operation.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I said, if you ever need any help, I would be willing to volunteer.
And Lysianthus, that is such a beautiful, unique annual flower.
Yes.
Lysianthus.
Yes. And it's not, I think about it, they look so much like a rose.
They do.
I've got a lot of roses, as a lot of people know. I put them in the ground, I fertilize them, I water them, spray them. They come and it's like 15, 20 blooms, bam. And that's in June. So, but you get a little Lysianthus, you have to have patience. I don't have, enough on that. And it's like, you have to wait. It's kind of like the dahlia. You're not going to see that bloom for a while. So you have to be a little bit more patient. So if you truly like the look of roses and you're like a hardcore gardener, they're just a gorgeous, gorgeous flower.
Lysianthus take such a long time to start from seed. Mm-hmm. It's an annual flower that you start from seed, but they need to be seeded in December or January for planting out in May. Yeah. So they're a long-term commitment,
it's a commitment,
but well worth.
But it's worth it when it's
That would be amazing to see those.
Well, and it's really fun because there on Wednesday from 5 to 7, we're going to have someone playing the violin. So you're going to have the full experience. So during that time, it's like, can you imagine like cutting your bouquet, walking around, the violin is playing, you're seeing all these thousands of flowers that you're not having to weed and just enjoy it, taking the smell and just
It's kind of like when you like going out to a restaurant because you don't want to have to cook and clean. Yeah. This is like being able to pretend that you have a garden, but you're able to go there. You don't have to the only work you have to do is walk around and ask questions.
Exactly.
It's a great experience.
It's a great experience. It's like how I met a really good friend of mine on the tour 4 years ago in my garden was because she was there with family and friends from out of town that she had invited in. It's a great way to get together with people and go to an event or something that maybe you share an interest in. And
because a lot of times, if you're going around from site to site, you will run into the same people. You may be on the same loop
by
as
the
somebody.
End, you're going to be best friends. You too will also be hanging out with that person. So it's just such a great event.
So let's tell the dates and how people order tickets again.
Yeah. So the dates for it is July 15th and 16th.
That's a Wednesday and Thursday?
It is, Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday is from 1 to 7. Thursday is from 9 to 3 p.m. So that's the 16th. And you can purchase tickets on the website, which is rrvgardentour.com. I do need to say a special thank you to Baker Nursery. Gardener Nursery. They have been such a great
sponsors.
Yeah, what a great sponsor. They've been a sponsor now for us for the last 4 years and give so much to this tour to make it happen. So thank you. We appreciate that.
Yep, sponsors very important. Mm-hmm. And let's talk a little bit about how are these yards selected?
Yeah.
A lot of it is kind of word of mouth, So how do you go? How does a committee go about finding different yards to tour each year?
We try to tell people as they're on the tour because you have pretty good odds that, if you're on the tour, you also have a love for flowers and, hey, maybe you have a yard you want to share or be willing to open up and share.
Another yard.
Or you might know of somebody. Yep. Maybe it's your neighbor. So we usually will try to talk to people that way. You can also go on our website, rrvgardentour.com. There's a link on there that you can fill out, submit a few pictures, answer a few questions.
It's a nice website. I like that.
It's easy, isn't it?
In addition to the ticket sales, there's information about the tour.
About the tour and
the whole operation.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, it's like, it's a good thing. I encourage people. It's like, put your yard out there. Be willing to share. We love to support our nonprofits in the community, and events like this do take yards to make it happen in gardens. And so
I think all of us are hesitant.
Right?
Mary and I were hesitant. In fact, we kind of postponed for a year or so because you think, gosh, well, we don't have, things just aren't always the way we'd like it. We got weeds, we got areas to mulch, we got, and so I think all of us are a little hesitant that
we were after you for 3 years.
Enough?
we were 3 years. We've been asking Don like every year, like, can we have yours? Can we have yours?
And so I think that's common for all of us. So, I figure if we can do it, almost anybody can really. Yeah. So,
and it can
we
be
can
any size.
Yes, exactly.
So,
yep. In fact, some of the smaller ones have been some of the most popular that really show people, wow, my yard's that size. I can do it.
And also, as opposed to you, Don, you've been in your space for how long? How many years?
10 years, kind of from scratch.
And there was, I think there was one guy last year who had been just in his house for 2 or 3 years and really had done a lot of really good gardening, and you could see he had plans for what was going to continue to grow. Yeah. So it makes it kind of nice that if you remember that, you can maybe drive by again and not look too creepy. Yeah. But it is kind of a fun way to see people who are very established and people who are relatively there. That space is newly developed,
and maybe they don't know the names of the flowers, and you know what? Maybe they've chosen those plants because they like the look of them. We're not going to judge people for if you know the Latin name of a plant. Right. It's
exactly. And the committee is willing to help too if because people like to know, tour attendees like to know, well, what is that? Yeah. But if there's an unknown, the committee can help identify things kind of ahead of time. That's kind of why the pre-tours and things.
Well, and I've had coffee with some of them where they have sat down and drawn out, this is, of course, when we still had snow on the ground, what their yard looked like, which flower was where, what do I think about this, So, I'm willing to buy anybody a cup of Starbucks if we can talk plants. So
just think, with all the yards in the metro area, there's a lot of hidden gems out there. So we haven't even scratched the surface of all the tour possibilities for future.
If somebody's out there listening knows of a place or has a place that they think would be, even if it won't be ready next year, but maybe in a couple of years, what's the best way to reach out to you?
The best way is to reach out to us is through the website. Yes. There's a link on there to email us questions, but it's like certainly, and you can even go on there.
There's kind of a nomination, isn't there? A nomination button on there? Yes,
there is. So you can nominate your neighbor, and we won't even tell her who said who. But we'll answer any questions and concerns that they have with it.
So next year, the committee is kind of looking at Moorhead,
correct? We are, yes. We're going to be doing Moorhead next year, so we're very excited about that.
Especially anyone that knows in kind of that the Moorhead area, or I suppose it could be kind of right across the river in Fargo, but something that would kind of make the tour flow nicely.
And I think Moorhead is going to be the plan for next year. We did do Moorhead Dilworth a couple years ago, which worked out great. But I think we've got enough interest in Moorhead that I feel like we're really going to stay pretty much in Moorhead. I think it's truly. And the next year, and the reason I say that is because next year we've already got, so 2 years from now, 2 yards lined up for around 8th Street.
Okay.
And that area there. So we're like, We're kind of
it takes a lot of planning, so a person's already looking at a few years down the road. So there's a lot of good work that you Master Gardeners have put into this.
Yeah. I love driving around and looking at people's front yards.
The committee meets about at least every month, and there's a lot of work that goes on during the month. So there's years of preparation that go into each of the year's tours,
and lots of Master Gardeners that are volunteering the days of at the tables, manning the tables, so really checking people in. So
good community effort.
It really is. It's a community group effort.
And one thing to keep in mind for those of us who are going is that while people are inviting us in to allow us this, parking is not always a given, right? So it's street parking. So be considerate. You may have to park and walk away. So if you're with somebody who's maybe got mobility issues, maybe usually they allow for a space for people to be dropped off and then park. Exactly. But just, keep that in mind. Be a good guest. Don't assume that you're going to be able to park in someone's driveway.
Right.
But it's worth it. Even if you have to park a couple houses away, it's great to walk up and get that. And then you're welcomed, like you said, you're welcomed right away by a table of Master Gardeners who are going to tell you, maybe they'll say, hey, and keep an eye out for this aspect of this garden.
Exactly. Or maybe they're interested in becoming a master gardener. Maybe it's something that they've always thought about doing, and maybe were intimidated or didn't know how to go about applying for that. And it's great as a master gardener. We always are like singing the praises of what it's like to be one. And so
we need to do a podcast on that sometime.
A whole
podcast on Master Gardener program.
Yes, that'd be wonderful. I think just so that people know too, all the different things that they're doing around the community. And I mean, wasn't there just a group going up to the Peace Gardens?
Yes, that goes volunteers at the Peace Gardens.
Wow.
Another good initiative is the Veggies for the Pantry that begins in late August. That's where home gardeners that have excess produce donate them at about 8 sites around the community. Master gardeners collect them, take them to food pantries. Last year, over 20,000 pounds of vegetables, homegrown vegetables, were collected from us average vegetable gardeners.
So my potatoes,
donated.
you're telling me if my crop is such a bumper crop that you just can't eat them.
The Veggies for the Pantry will take them to those in need. So lots of good stuff.
Definitely. So one last time, what the dates and the website?
Yep. So it's July 15th and 16th, and you go to rrvgardentour.com.
And tickets are $17 in advance, $20 at the door.
Yep, for sure. And you can, like I said, bring your children. I mean, I'm excited to see the little horses. So
I'm excited to see so much. There will be lots to take in.
Yep.
There will. I'm excited. Because I wasn't able to see all of the homes on kind of our Master Gardener pre-tour. But so there's a few that I have not seen, but those that I have seen, people are going to be amazed.
Yeah,
they're going to enjoy.
Well, thank you guys. I appreciate you letting me
joining us, and thanks for all the work that you do on the tour committee.
Well, I enjoy it. I think we all received an email, the Master Gardeners, when Don and Rachel decided to do this, and I think it had maybe been in my inbox for about 2 minutes before I was like, I have to be a part of this. And I absolutely love it. I've just met wonderful people, and it makes a difference for our community. So what better way to spend your time than flowers and gardens?
Well, Sandra Vigen, thank you very much for coming in and talking about the garden tour.
Thank you.
Don, if people have questions for you about gardens or just anything in general, now that we're in the peak of gardening season, what's the best way to reach you?
Send me an email. Photos are always welcome too. The email address is donald.kinsler, spelled Kinzler, at ndsu.edu.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and have a good week.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, John. And thanks everyone for listening.